Should we talk about Barbenheimer?
Yeah, the Barbenheimer. Well, this was the like one of the best weekends for Hollywood in a long, long time.
Yeah.
Which kind of the Hollywood has been putting these tent poles like alone, like they don't want them ever to conflict.
Right.
But maybe back in the day there would be several movies released at a time. There'd be an action film that usually was the big blockbuster, and then you would have like a comedy or something. So you'd go to the theater, you might not even know what you were going to watch, and you just like look around and you'd pick whatever was there. And I feel like people delighted in the return of that, like the return of like these two diametrically opposed things.
In other words, we're going to go to the theater and then we're going to see one of these two, yeah.
And a lot of people dressed up and saw both of them.
Yeah.
And in a double feature, like, it's very memey. People were like had their black outfits and their pink outfits or both at the same time. So it was an event. And Barbie, when I went to the theaters, so many girls were dressed up as in pink.
Yeah, same
There
with
was young girls were wearing like matching T-shirts. Yeah, there was like Gen X women were wearing dresses, and people had like pink. What do you call those things? Like where your hair's fake, it clips in. The extensions, whatever those. Yeah.
Nina was saying, she was like, the property of Barbie, there's nothing quite like it for women and girls. I mean, the thing is real old, and everybody's got some relationship to it. Yeah. Everybody had some relationship to it.
Yeah, there was like a somebody I went to school with on Facebook. She just like posted like, I've been waiting for this for my entire life.
How did they sleep on this for so long?
It's like so they made it a big event, and the marketing was phenomenal for Barbie. They really pulled all the stops, and Ryan Gosling was going out there and being real charming and really bringing the Kenergy, as they say. I saw the movie.
Barbie. I did not see Barbie. We both saw Oppenheimer. I didn't see Barbie. EJ did see Barbie.
Yes, I saw Barbie. I did not enjoy it. But disclaimer, this movie definitely wasn't made for me.
Right.
It was not. It wasn't made for me.
And not just along gender lines, but along generational lines, right? Wouldn't you say? And comedy sensibilities.
Yeah, comedy sensibilities. Yeah, and just yeah, it definitely had more. Like if you like Kate McKinnon style humor, like if you find Kate McKinnon funny, you'll probably like the humor of this because she does show up too. But I feel like the whole cadence of the jokes and the humor is kind of like late stage SNL to me.
Right. Awesome.
So it's definitely like I don't think I chuckled one bit during the movie. Like maybe some Ryan Gosling, because he's really into it the whole 110%. So you just find him amusing, just from his charisma. But if you liked it, I'm not here to yuck your yum, but I will explain my experiences with it. I would say the set designs are very good. Like they recreate a lot of Barbie stuff. Like even like I remember a lot of this crazy stuff, like the Skipper doll that she raises her arms and her breasts grow. Do you remember that? Like the
no,
yeah, it's ridiculous. It was like what was it like something? It was like growing up Skipper or something, and so they like recreate a lot of these ridiculous things in there, and they recreate a lot of the outfits and the dream houses and the clothes, and so like if you're a Barbie fan, you're gonna be very like much like the Mario movie gave us a lot of references, and gave us like things that we wanted to see that bolstered the movie more than probably it would have otherwise. It gives millennial women, Gen X women, all women who played with Barbie something to latch on to and be like, oh, I remember that. Oh, I used to play with that. Oh, I used to. And I think that does add a lot of value. And this in the way that women made it an event to go to it. I think I think that was needed for them. I think
Oh,
they were looking for something like that. And we were talking about how movie theaters can be kind of, should be more like eventized
communal
and
spaces, yeah.
communal spaces. And they really did. You know, I even took a picture in the Barbie box too. I had a girl, I gave my phone to like one of those girls dressed in pink. I'm like, hey, can you take a picture of me in the Barbie
Oh, really?
box?
That's funny. Notably, the Super Mario Brothers movie did not have heavy-handed politics in it.
Yes.
And for a movie that's meant to like bring everybody together and everybody can connect on this, to then inject heavy-handed politics into it. And for that matter, like I get that it needs to be ironic, it needs to be funny, it needs to be a bit self-aware, it needs to be a bit Lego movie, but to be straight up like it's going to be PG-13, there's going to be masturbation jokes in it. So like you know you might not want to bring your 6-year-old and stuff. I'm kind of like, what are you doing? Like if obviously whatever they did worked, and
Yeah.
don't come to me for your answers. But
Yeah. I'm definitely. I didn't think it would work because I saw that it was PG-13 aimed more at adults. But
talking about
I don't think it's.
beating each other off. I mean, what?
Yeah, I don't think like the general marketing. It's abundantly clear that that's what's going on.
They hit it.
But it is. It is. You know, some people. I've seen some people like, oh, it's not that political. It's like it is. It's like it's intersectional feminism, the movie, basically, and I think a lot of the people that they're aiming at, which is millennial women mostly, maybe Zoomers too, and but millennial women are not going to be bothered by that. In fact, like you know, it's
They'll enjoy it.
yeah, they'll enjoy it, and yeah, I mean, because there's like one scene where you know the mother who owns the Barbie and is grown up, she you know does this huge diatribe about how hard it is to be a woman, and like women in the audience are like, yeah, mm-hmm. You know, it's something that emotionally will resonate with them, so that you know it is aimed at them.
They enjoy that aspect of it, talking about how
Yeah,
hard it is to be them.
and yeah.
Yeah.
But they, I mean, in general, if you're in the plot is basically there's they right away they tell you like this is not going to make any sense. Like there's no world building in this, and you're not supposed. They tell you they lampshade it like all over the place. You're not supposed to be like thinking very seriously about the plot, but it does bother me because it's just like it's like you want things to matter because it's not like an SNL sketch. You want things to be. You don't want it to just be and then. You want things to matter more. You want things to build. You want things to. You want to be able to hang your hat on something.
Connect stuff.
Yeah, and but anyway, so there's Barbie Land, and the main stereotypical Barbie. She suddenly gets they're partying all the time, and she suddenly gets thoughts about death, and she gets freaked out about cellulite, and so. Kate McKinnon, the weird Barbie, like tells her to go to the real world and find her owner. So she goes out in the real world. Ken tags along, and Ken is, you know, very much an appendage, like to Barbie. Like she treats him horribly right off the bat, like he's a hanger-on, and the Ryan Gosling character, and Ken's like don't live anywhere. Like the Barbies live in mansions and they don't live anywhere. They're homeless and just live on the beach. It's like, all right. And and all the like Barbies like basically they're always vying for Barbie's attention, but they never give it to him. It's very strange.
Which I guess is true in the toy world, right? Ken doesn't have any place. Is he meant to live in the dream house? I don't know.
I don't know. I guess that's up to the girl.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, that does make sense because he is the accessory to Barbie. So it's pretty funny. It's a nice little joke. And then so they go on to the real world to find this owner, and they find well, Ken notices right away that like I don't know, like oh, I don't feel like I feel like more respected. Like people like ask him the time, and he's like, oh, I can't believe you like asked that. Like he feels respected by just getting like common decency, and like then but Barbie is getting like hit on and ass slapped and all that stuff. You know, this stuff that of course in LA. And then so Barbie finds the little girl who she thinks is the owner of her, but it's actually the daughter of the owner. And the daughter of the owner just like goes off on Barbie. She's like, you made me feel like inadequate, you made me do this, and you made me like you're she calls her fascist for some reason. She says she give you brought back feminism like all these years because of how you are, and you're perfect and all that stuff. And it's like, all right, it's like a
fascist.
And then but then Mattel Corporation figures out that Barbie's somehow in the real world, and so they like basically abduct her. And then the mother sees Barbie getting picked up, and the mother works at Mattel, of course. And then so Barbie's brought to Mattel, and all of the executives are men, which does like, you know, modern executive boards are filled with women now. It's not going to be all men and in those things. So it's kind of like inventing kind of a male villain where not what's supposed to be the real world is totally even more fictional than the Barbie world. And then Ken Keefe goes on his little own adventure where he's like seeing like men are respected, and he's like, he gets books about the patriarchy, and he brings that back to Barbie world, and sort of like turns Barbie world into like a frat house.
So they're quite literally saying the word patriarchy in the movie.
They say patriarchy like many, many, many times.
Yeah.
Where Ken feels like, oh wow, this is so like great, I can bring this back to Barbie world, and like Kens can like actually feel something for themselves.
So this movie's not political. It just says the word patriarchy a million times.
Yeah, and it's got the plot, and then Ken ends up being sort of the villain. It's
an interesting sleight of hand, isn't it? When like I think what happens is when you advocate for a political perspective, you want to sell the idea that political perspective is neutral. That you're not on any kind of like more extreme end either way of, so you're like, Sound of Freedom is neutral, like it's right wing, and whatever, like those, it's okay to make movies with political perspectives, but it's not neutral. So it's interesting when people are like, I don't know, it seems politically divisive. I'm like, no, it's not. You fucking asshole. You're kind of being divisive right now.
Yeah. And so the mother and the daughter like save Barbie from the executives who are trying to like box her away for some reason. And then they go back to the Barbie land, and it's been taken over by Kens. And the Kens are going to like change the Supreme Court so it's all Kens and stuff like that, and change the Constitution. And so, but the Barbie like finds some of because the women immediately give in to the patriarchy for some reason. Like they say something like, it's like, oh, they don't have an immune system, the patriarchy, so they gave in right away, and so they're serving Ken's beers and stuff like that.
An immune system?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, everything is just so like, stuff happens.
Did you see and/or like Lady Bird that Greta Gerwig did?
I saw it. I don't remember anything about it.
I remember like really not liking it.
I don't remember anything. Like I couldn't even tell you. I know that Roseanne's sister's in it.
Yeah. I remember it just felt like it was like a big mood. The whole movie was like a big mood, but without any actual details.
Yeah, I don't remember anything. Remember. So and so then in the end, Barbie and the mother and the daughter, because she brings them both back, they like go one by one, bring back all of the Barbies, other Barbies, and like brainwash them back into being I don't know, normal or something. But they do that by like yelling at them about how hard it is to be a woman,
right?
And then all the Barbies trick the Kens into fighting each other, and then that's the best part is then during that section, Ken sings a song, so it's got like its Peaches moment. So it's a viral moment where they got there's a Ken song, and it is really good. It's like that's probably the best part is that Ken song. Which is kind of funny, is like Ken is like the most appealing thing in this movie. Yeah. At least as a man, I guess.
I saw some reviews of that were like that really liked the political perspective of the movie. They were like, the only problem is I don't like that the men are still in it an awful lot. Like,
They're given a pretty good arc,
yeah.
because like, and then at the end of the day, the Barbies take back over while they're fighting and sign the Constitution that they're still in power, and like the Kens are like, oh yeah, can we at least have like a Supreme Court justice seat? And they're like, oh, maybe a lower court. So like they're back to not having any power. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
So they're just oppressive at the end of the day.
Yeah. So the women are oppressive, and they say something along the lines of, "Oh, and they'll stay like this until everything's are equal in the real world," or something like that.
Okay, all right.
And then, but then at the end, Barbie chooses to go back to the real world and be a woman. So I guess she chooses the messaging is very muddled. It's like they play with all these ideas and throw them against the wall, but in the end, Barbie chooses to live in the patriarchy and become a human
and get her ass slapped.
And it's not really clear like how like any of this work. Like why would she go back into the real world and be a human? I don't know. Like how's the mechanics?
Why does Will Ferrell always show up in these toy commercial movies?
And he's very much Will Ferrell in the movie, and like the most obvious unfunny way.
Oh my god, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, where he's like tripping over. He's like in his corporate building. They're trying to figure out how to use a key card on like a turnstile. And they're like, my key card doesn't work, and it's like, oh god.
It sounds like a great movie. I'll tell you this much. I like it very much when my wife and daughter enjoy a film. We haven't seen this one yet. But I'll tell you that like there's a long history of like Barbie DVDs and like DVD movies. And I think most of them are on Netflix or are originals on Netflix. We watch, there's like Gloria especially enjoys, Chelsea cartoons. Chelsea is Barbie's little sister because Barbie is whatever, like 16 or something. And Chelsea is like 9. And Gloria loves watching the adventures of Chelsea and having like a big sister Barbie. And normally they're saving some kind of animal or they're stopping some greedy business guy or something. It's normally like doing something to help the community. And it's just some like cute adventure that normally involves animals. And she loves that. Now what's interesting is like you release an animated Barbie movie into theaters that's along those lines. It's just for little kids. It doesn't make anywhere near the same kind of money, but I bet you could have done a DreamWorks or Illumination style, higher end animated Barbie movie with some kind of Lego movie type comedy. And I don't know that it would have been the phenomenon that this thing was, but it would have done well too.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know, because I would a movie that's just Barbie. Maybe it's a little cheeky and stuff like that, but without all the politics, would have done the same. Probably, maybe.
Well, they didn't market the politics. No one really knew the politics were going to be there, so
no,
the politics are snuck in, if anything.
Yeah, I think women appreciate being catered to. And
for sure.
And I think this movie does do that. I think it does.
There we go.
In some ways it does kind of make you feel the anxiety of a woman a little bit. And I think they like that. They like being seen in that way. Not to mansplain women to people.
Let me tell you what you enjoy.
What you enjoy, but I can see the appeal. Like I can leave my body and see the appeal of this, and I can understand why it's doing. Why I can understand why people because it's not going like the conventional wisdom is go woke, get broke, and if as soon as people see that there was a switcheroo, there would be drops, but that's not happening. So there's something else happening here. That
either they're enjoying that element of it or they're enjoying it very much in spite of that element, or that element is not really even detected by them. It's not observable by them. Probably some combination
of that. And and plus they're all coming together dressing up. Plus there's the fun of the Oppenheimer thing.
I think once they decide we're going to dress in pink and go to the movies together, nothing can stop them.
Yeah, and maybe nothing can stop them from having a good time. And I think a lot of them do think Kate McKinnon is funny, so they're going to be well served. They're going to be well served, and men who like that style humor too, because we're always ragging on Zoomer humor, but it probably appeals to a lot of people. So
yeah, fair enough. I saw a meme that was like that our friend Zach shared with us. That was like Sonic the Hedgehog like praying, and it said like thank God the writer's strike is going on right now, so we don't get an SNL Barbenheimer sketch. And I was like, God, that's so unbelievably true. Like,
because you can already write it in your head, like auto write it.
So the question is like, what would it be? It's like, well, you know what it would be. The comedy always cuts the same way on those things. They always take the silly thing or the less serious thing, in this case, Barbie, and they make it like dour and deeply depressing, like the Oppenheimer thing. So it'd be like Barbie is in these like hearings or something, and it's like, yeah,
she's got a fedora on and a pipe.
And it ends with like a pink mushroom cloud of some kind. You can just see it in your head. And because they did like Oscar the Grouch's Joker, they did like Last of Us Mario Kart,
right?
The same old fucking shit. Pete Davidson shows up and is like, "Hey, I'm Ken. I don't know." The same old shit. And like I had like an existential moment of dread when I like was thinking about that. Where I was, because we're already at a point with AI, like AI has been out for 5 minutes, and we're already at a point where we're like, is this email I'm getting from an AI or from a real person, or or like, or we're telling each other, you're like, I don't know, you sound kind of like an AI right now. I think you need to human that up a bit. We're already starting to kind of like, we don't know the difference between the real thing and the fake thing. And just thinking about this Barbenheimer SNL sketch that doesn't exist, it just made me think like the way that, because we're all so connected on the internet and conversations ignite so quickly and patterns form so quickly, the way that we communicate and organize thoughts has become algorithmic. Like forget the actual technology for a moment. It's just like the way that we as a neural network connect is algorithmic because and predictable, really. You're like, oh, it's, that's why I really like it when a movie, over succeeds or under succeeds, because I'm like, oh good, it broke, there was no predictive model for this one, no one really knew what the hell this was going to be. So, and on that note, I appreciate whatever it is that's going on with Barbie.
Yeah, I didn't like the movie, didn't like the humor, but I understand the success of it.
Yeah, it's a hard sell to me to ever be like, hey, like very modern, divisive, lopsided politicking is going to happen in your like family pop culture movie. But even I think even just saying that is probably going to get me some heat.
Yeah.
So
well, it is interesting. That's the reason why I wanted to watch the movie to begin with, because I saw so many people like fighting online. And I was like, this is interesting. Why is this happening?
Yeah.
Because I actually wanted to, I wanted to see the movie because I thought it looked fun a little bit. I like the idea of Ryan Gosling and what's her face?
Margot
Robbie. I like the idea of them like, dressing up, running around, doing like silly stuff as dolls. That sounds kind of fun to me in a summer day. Definitely. And it like immediately I was miserable. Like when every single joke was falling flat to me, I was like, oh no.
Was it improv-y? It looked a little improv-y.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. I think this is what they ripped. This is what they wrote.
All right. Fair enough.
Subscribe to Red Cow Entertainment on Patreon for full episodes every other week.